I just discovered that everything that I thought I knew about bringing designs to life is actually pretty outdated. I spent 4 hours vibe coding for the first time, and I realized that this might be the future of how designers actually ship products. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we'll be talking about vibe coding from a designer's perspective. What it is, why you should try it, and the exact tips that actually work. If you've been watching my channel, you know I've been designing screens for Subscription Monster in my last few videos. You saw me struggle with that dashboard design, iterate on it, and finally land on something that we love. But those were just Figma files, just pretty pictures that don't actually work. This week, I finally tried vibe coding those designs into actual functioning code using Claude Code. And even though I have 6 years of software engineering experience, this was completely new territory. Because vibe coding is not about knowing how to code, it's about knowing how to communicate your vision. Today, I want to share what I learned, the specific techniques that work, and why I think every designer should at least try this out once. Because honestly, this might change everything about the way that we work. Okay, so vibe coding is basically building software by describing what you want in natural language to AI, instead of writing code line by line. You use tools like Claude Code, Cursor, or V0, and you literally just explain what you're trying to build. Why should designers care about this? 3 reasons. First, it closes the gap between design and implementation. You know that frustrating thing where your design looks perfect in Figma, but the developed version is slightly off? When you can vibe code, you can actually build it yourself exactly how you envisioned it. Second, it makes you a better designer. When you have to describe your design decisions in words, you realize which choices are intentional and which choices are arbitrary. It forces you to think about the why behind every single pixel. And third, and this is the big one, I kind of think this is where our industry is heading. In a few years, the line between developer and designer might not exist the way that it does now. The person who can both envision and implement will be invaluable. So let me tell you about my actual experience. I was working on the calendar screen for Subscription Monster. This is the one that I designed in my last couple videos. So Christian had already vibe coded a basic version, but it was mainly just functional. It definitely worked, but it didn't have all of the visual details from my original design. So I opened Cursor, downloaded Claude Code, created a new branch, and just started. My first mistake was trying to be an engineer about it. I was saying things like implement proper state management and other very technical things. Claude Code gave me technically correct code, but it looked nothing like what I wanted. The breakthrough came when I stopped thinking like a developer and started thinking like a designer explaining their vision to someone else. Now, before we get into tips, let me quickly explain how to actually get started if you've never coded before, and I promise you that it's way easier than you think. There are lots of tutorials on YouTube and online, so definitely feel free to check those out for more details. What I'm using is Cursor as the main IDE, and then I use Claude Code in the terminal in Cursor. This allows me to prompt Claude Code while seeing the code firsthand. If you're not interested in seeing the code and you just want to see the results, you can definitely just use Claude Code in the terminal, without having to use a separate IDE. For complete beginners, I absolutely recommend using V0 or Lovable or createanything.com since it's web-based and you can see results instantly. Once you're comfortable, or if you're open to a little bit of a learning curve, definitely move on to Cursor or Claude Code for more complex projects. Here are all the specific techniques that I used with real examples. Tip number 1, use Please Ultra Think for complex problems. This only applies if you're using Claude Code, and the word ultra think is one word. This is like a magic phrase. When you need the AI to really consider all options, start with, please ultra think about this. For example, I wrote, please ultra think about how to create a calendar grid that handles different month links, shows today's date highlighted, and remains responsive on mobile. This made Claude Code consider edge cases that I hadn't even thought of, such as months starting on different days of the week. Tip number 2, build in layers just like designing. Start with structure, then style, then interactions. Never all at once. Here's an example progression. Start with, create a calendar grid with 7 columns and 6 rows. Then you'd prompt, make each date cell 48 pixels square with the number in the top left. Then you can prompt, add our purple brand color with the specific hex code to today's date. And finally, when hovering over a date, lift it slightly with a shadow. This approach got me way better results than trying to describe everything all at once. Tip number 3, keep a prompt journal. Create a document or an MD file and save everything. Here are some examples from my journal. Make it feel more premium makes the AI always add subtle shadows and better spacing. Add breathing room makes the AI consistently improve cramped layouts. Make it feel clickable makes the AI add hover states and cursor changes. And polish the typography makes the AI improve font weights and line heights. After just a few hours, you'll have your own library of phrases that work. Tip number 4, reference other apps specifically. Don't just say make it look modern, reference other actual products. Here are some good examples. Make the sidebar look like Notions but with our purple accent color, or use card layouts similar to Stripe's dashboard, add tooltips like linears, minimal, and dark, or create a date picker like Airbnb's. The AI has a higher shot of replicating what you want because it might understand the specific pattern a bit better rather than you just saying to make it look a bit more modern. Tip number 5, describe specifics, not just the feeling and the intention. This one took me a bit of time to figure out. Usually when I have a design in Figma, I know exactly the specific specifications that I want the code to have. So if I say something like, make this feel like a friendly button that wants to be clicked, it obviously doesn't produce exactly what I want. Instead, I would say something like, add a 2-pixel border with a border radius of 8 pixels in this color. Some other examples include saying, animations should feel responsive but not jarring, but replacing that with add transition all 0.2 seconds ease. As designers, we obviously know what all of this terminology means, so being specific helps the AI replicate exactly what you want. Tip number 6, use small specific iterations. Never try to fix multiple things in one prompt. Here's a bad example. Fix the calendar layout and colors and make it responsive. A better way to do this is have 3 separate prompts. Number 1, make the calendar grid align properly. Number 2, update all colors to match our brand. And number 3, make this work on mobile screens. Tip number 7, use relative descriptions. Describe changes relative to what's already there. Here are some examples. Make the text slightly larger than it is now, add more space between these cards, make this purple more vibrant, and reduce the shadow intensity by half. Tip number 8, provide context about the user. Tell the AI who will use this and why. For example, for us, we say, this calendar is for busy professionals tracking subscription costs. They need to quickly see what's being charged today and this week. Make the current changes impossible to miss. This context helps the AI make better design decisions. Tip number 9, ask for options. For example, show me 3 different ways to display subscription logos on calendar dates. 1 minimal, 1 detailed, and 1 in between. This is exactly like creating design variations in Figma. And finally, tip number 10, debug by describing what's wrong visually. Don't say that the CSS is broken, describe what you see. Here's an example. The calendar dates are overlapping on the right side and cutting off at the bottom. They should be in neat rows without equal spacing. The AI can often figure out the technical fix from your visual description. So let's get honest about what vibe coding can and cannot do. Here are the pros. Number 1, the speed of prototyping. We built a working calendar in 4 hours that would have taken us days to code properly. Number 2, no setup required. Unlike traditional coding, you don't need to configure anything. Just download and start. Number 3, design fidelity. You can actually start building exactly what you designed and not a developer's interpretation of it. Number 4, learning opportunity. You start understanding technical constraints without having to learn the exact syntax. Number 5, client demos. Show working prototypes, not just static mockups. This is huge for freelance work. Number 6, rapid iteration. You can change something in seconds that might take hours of traditional code. Number 7, accessibility. The AI can often add proper accessibility to make sure that it's inclusive for all users. Number 8, it's cross-platform, since most tools generate responsive code by default. Now here are the cons. Number 1 is code quality. The generated code can often be messy, especially when you add prompts upon iteration upon changes. Number 2, debugging. When something breaks, you may not understand why or how to fix it, except for just putting the entire error message back into the AI to see if it'll fix it. Number 3, cost. Most AI coding tools require subscriptions and it can get pretty costly. Number 4, over-reliance. You may become dependent without understanding the fundamentals. Number 5, inconsistency. The same exact prompt might give different results at different times. Number 6, complex logic. The AI struggles with complicated business logic and data processing. Number 7, security concerns. You shouldn't be vibe coding anything with sensitive data or authentication unless you truly understand how to code. Number 8, version control. You'll have to have a bit of understanding about Git and version control in order to get rid of this problem. And number 9, context limits. If you're in a long session, the AI can kind of forget earlier parts of your project. So from my experience, here are some common mistakes to avoid and mistakes that wasted a lot of my time. Number 1, being too vague. Saying make it better never works. You have to be specific about what better means. Number 2, trying to be too technical. If you don't know the technical terms, don't fake it. Just try to describe what you see. Number 3, not saving your work or using version control. These tools don't always autosave, so it's important to commit your work in case you need to fall back on an older version. Number 4, expecting production-ready code. Vibe coding is for prototypes and MVPs, not shipping to millions and millions of users. Number 5, ignoring error messages. The AI can often fix errors if you just copy and paste them back and also saying please fix this. This whole experience reminds me of when I first started designing after being a software engineer. In my earlier videos, I talk about how scary it was to open Figma for the first time in years, and how it felt like I didn't belong in design. Vibe coding feels like coming full circle. It's using my engineering background but in a completely new way. It's not about writing perfect code, it's about communicating design intent. And just like I said in my video about building confidence as a designer, the only way to get better is to start. You're going to write prompts that don't work. The AI is going to build things that look terrible, but each iteration teaches you something. Remember in my last couple videos where I failed at the dashboard design? I had to start over multiple times. Vibe coding is more or less the same thing. Your first attempt won't be perfect, but that's totally fine. I think we're at this very interesting inflection point in our industry because the tools are getting so good that the boundaries between disciplines are blurring. A few years ago, if you wanted to build software, you needed to know how to code, period. Now you need to know what you want to build and know how to communicate it. This does not make traditional skills any less valuable. If anything, it makes them more valuable. Understanding design principles and knowing how to code properly, these become your best assets when combined with AI tools. For designers specifically, this is an opportunity to become more autonomous and to validate ideas faster. My honest advice is this: try vibe coding this week. Not next month, not when you have the time, try starting this week. And here's why. First, the learning curve is actually pretty gentle if you approach it correctly. You don't need to know how to code, you just need to know how to describe what you see. Second, even if you never use it for actual work, the exercise of describing your designs in words will ultimately make you a better designer. It forces you to think about hierarchy, user flow, and interaction in really concrete ways. Third, and I think this is very important, this skill is only going to become more valuable. The designers who can bridge the gap between concept and implementation are going to have a huge advantage. Remember to start small. Remember in my video about imposter syndrome, how I talked about just opening Figma and starting with a rectangle? It's the same concept here. So what do I think is the biggest lesson from my whole experience? The tools are changing, but the fundamentals aren't. Good design is still good design, and clear communication is still clear communication. The only difference now is that we're communicating with AI instead of only humans. If you've been following my journey from engineer to designer, you know that I'm all about just trying things and learning as you go. Vibe coding is no different. It's really weird at first, and you'll definitely make some mistakes, but that's always how you start. Thanks for watching, and if you try vibe coding, let me know how it goes, and I'll see you in the next one.